ministry, serve people and make sure that every day that you get up, that you serve them better than you did the day before. How do we do that? We do that by learning, we do that by reading, we do that by growing, we do that by sharing, we do that by exchanging information, we do that in various ways. I have met so many people here today over the past few days. Your stories are magnificent. The way that you have embraced us has been magnificent. And I promise you, if that you keep pushing and keep charging, remember those regulations, they're there to help, they're there to guide, they're also there for the consumer, okay, so that the consumer is not mistreated. But if you serve people to the best of your ability, there's going to be a chain reaction that will lead to growth, that will lead to profit, and lead to the need for people to call. Does that make sense? Any questions on any of that? No? What I'm going to do now is, if it's okay, I'm going to turn it over to the floor to entertain any questions. About at the 35-minute mark, so that we can deal with any questions before the hour is up. Is that okay, Ezra? Okay. This gentleman in the front has a question.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. Sorry. Yes, my understanding in the industry is to serve people is one of the most important things. The first thing is very important for anyone who is here. But I'm talking, I will ask you maybe just to explain it, or I will ask you the question, just to make me to understand. What is the right way?
What is the
right way?
The right way?
The right way to assess myself. I'm on the right road.
Okay.
To serve people.
To serve people. Okay.
Yes.
Number one, simply, what is it, and write this down, what is it that I do? And if you remember, I asked you all that question, and the room got silent, right? So there's a reason for that. And so you all may want to think about that introspectively, meaning think about that with yourself. So maybe go home, look yourself in the mirror, and ask yourself, what is it that I do? Because if you don't know, that might be an issue. Not an issue that can't be fixed or addressed, but that might be an issue that needs to be fixed or addressed. Some of you may be children of funeral service professionals, and you're just repeating the steps that your mother and father did, or that your grandfather told you to do, and you don't even know why you're doing it, right? Some of you may have a dream, or you had a vision to be funeral directors, and you got a job, at a busy place, and you've just been working, and you've never had the time to sit down to say, what am I doing? What am I doing? Why am I doing it? Another question is, how am I doing it? Am I doing it to the best of my ability, right? Because you want to be at your absolute best, that you can service your people the absolute best, right? I think we had, I forget where we were 2 days ago, and we were talking about the number of human remains in a facility, right? And so I was asking the facility manager, who knows who is in this facility? How many bodies? Where are they? And so they went and they showed me a chart, and they said that a person has a responsibility that every human remains that come in, it has to be noted, and they know exactly where they are. That gave me great joy, because that facility, they knew literally where every person was, and they had hundreds of bodies. Now you may be a small funeral home, and you may only have one body a week. Do you know where that body is, right? The body now enters your facility. Do you have the best person embalming that body, preparing it to be the best? Some of the funeral directors that we talked to talked about preservation, and that's all that they care about, is that the body being preserved to last an infinite amount of time, right? But at the same time, the families come and they want to see their loved ones. Now, if they see their loved ones in a not so good condition, Are we doing our best? Are we servicing them to the best of our abilities? We were in a facility that showed us a room where they allow families to come in and see their loved ones. It was immaculate. You could literally eat off the floor. And you could tell that they took pride in that one room that the public enters to see their loved one. So it's those little things that every step that you make, everything that you do as a funeral service operator, you do it to the absolute best. Maybe put the onus on you. This is what I do when I leave my funeral home at night. I walk the building to say, if I have to bring my mom and dad here tomorrow because they died, is my building in the best shape for them to enter this place? That's what I do. And so this way I know that every family that I service is getting the absolute best. Is the carpet clean when they walk in? Seems silly, right? Oh, well, the person who cleans only comes on Tuesdays and Fridays. But what if the carpet's dirty on Monday? You know what I'm saying? I've been in situations like this. It hasn't been in a funeral home, in a bank. You go in to sign a document, there's no pens for you to use. Silly, right? Have pens in your office.
Sorry, thanks for that elaboration. Where I work, we've got a, with regards to what do we do, we've got a slogan. This is basically we are customer focused, and then to get a feedback of what we do there, and this concerns everybody who operates within the funeral home, including the accountants that are there, the embalmers that are there, including the doctors that work there. We have, in every department in the institution that I work in, there's a customer feedback book positioned everywhere. And our administrators there and the supervisors keep on looking at these books each and every day, because the customers come and not they compliment or give any complaints if they're there, and they leave their contacts, and then we follow up and build on that, and through the compliment to know where we're doing well and pull up on that, and where we think we are falling short of required standards, then we ought to pull up ourselves. So we get a feedback through that.
Gotcha, through that. Yeah. No one asked me, but I will share. What is it that I do? Me personally, I work to ensure that my consumers have an immaculate facility to come and serve their loved ones in, and that my employees have a place to go to work. That's what I do each and every day. Now, that may not require me to be physically in my funeral home. For many, many years, I had to also work in corporate America, dump money into my business to ensure that I had a decent place for my consumers to be served and my employees to come to work. So that's my challenge to myself, and that's what it is that I do. Any other questions? One in the back to the right, sir. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Mine is on the embalmers or the morticians, or the funeral directors, those who are directly involved in the mortuary work, preparing bodies, embalming. Do you have a policy in terms of their medical upkeep? Do they go for medical examinations? Because they are exposed to risk, high risk of embalming chemicals.
And so you said medical, right?
Yes.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure that I was clear. So to answer your question, the good part about our regulations in the States is that the government plays a role in that. And so we have to test We're inspected each and every year to make sure that our physical facilities and what's going on in them are proper. We're also tested for the chemical levels that are in our funeral homes each and every day. Now the medical onus, I will say that's really on the responsibility of the employee. In terms of the equipment that we are responsible for providing to the employees, in terms of access to personal protective equipment, all of those things kind of play in, I believe, to your question, that we are doing our due diligence as funeral home owners, managers, and supervisors to ensure that our environments are safe for our employees to work in.
Okay, to respond also, just to support what we do in Kenya Airways. So for Kenya Airways, we have medical examination every year for all staff. So for example, when we are tested according to also the areas that we are working. For example, when I was working in engineering, when I was supporting the engineers, if areas we are exposed to certain chemicals, we are also tested if we have any infection. And those who work at the ramp in operations, we also have to make sure that we have the ear test. Those who are working in areas where, for example, we have the cabin seat covers and the fluffs and all that, everything that is collected in the cabin, and they're the ones who are maintaining for cleaning, they're also tested for any infection, and it is mandatory. The airline ensures that all staff are tested. So it's important, it's a good proposal that all funeral homes, like if you have staff, we make it mandatory because the staff will not go. Some of us, we are so busy until it becomes mandatory. You're told you should not be in the office before you go for the test. And it is also a government requirement, OSHA. Yeah, KEBS. OSHA. Give me the S.
Yeah. So similar to what she's saying, over in the States, we do have OSHA also that regulates the employee's work environment. But we, as owners, we have to also be very mindful and be careful of discriminatory laws as it relates to medical and medical treatment. So the requirements are federal, but we as independent owners, we have to be mindful, it's a fine line, on discriminatory acts if we say, hey, you as the employee, you must have this medically, or I need to see a medical check from you every year. We could end up in a whole lot of trouble back then. Any question in the back? I think we have room for two more.
This one, another one, the last one.
All the way in the back. Keep going, keep going, keep going. Gentleman with the tan shirt, it looks like.
Okay, thank you, Professor. I wanted just to ask a very simple question. How many chemicals do you use while doing embalming in America?
How many chemicals? Now, I may have to pull
They
Professor Harvell up to back me up on this, but also there's a difference because our chemicals are pre-constructed. And so, unlike how you all purchase your independent chemicals and you build your solution, the fluids that we purchase are almost, if you can think, ready-made. The only thing that we have to supplement or add to them is a gallon of water or 2 gallons of water, depending upon the solution. But we don't do any mixing, we don't do any combinations. We just go on the shelf, we pick up the 16-ounce bottle, we put it in the embalming machine, and we're done. Yeah, so that's the difference, I think, between here and there.
Thank you.
Last question.
At America, the funeral equipment was so cheap, so I just need to ask, lowering devices, how much, chest roll is how?
Oh, I'm sorry, if you could repeat your question.
Funeral equipment was so very cheap, so I just need to ask, how much lowering device, chest roll, and other things
Okay, I understood. Funeral, you said funeral service is cheap?
What he's asking is that he understands that funeral equipments are
funeral
cheap,
equipment.
like lowering device.
Okay.
Yes. Lowering device, I mean. Yeah.
So is he asking, I'm sorry, is he asking the cost?
He understands that funeral equipments are cheap, just like lowering device. How much does it cost in America? That's the question.
Okay, so a lowering device I would not know the price of because we have nothing to do with that. That's the cemetery. I can get you that information probably within 20 minutes once this is over, but I couldn't spit out to you the lowering device because number one, I've never purchased it. Number two, I don't even use it. When we go to the cemetery, the casket comes out of the hearse and it's turned over to the cemetery. And at that moment, the funeral director, we are out of it. It is now then the cemetery's responsibility to take the casket, to place the casket on the lowering device, to lower the casket, and then to bury the individual. But our job stops, you can basically think about it, once we cross the cemetery gate or the crematory gate, because our responsibility ends at that moment. We have unions, I'm not sure if you're familiar with the term, in terms of workers at the cemetery. And so they are a protected group of workers by law, and that's their job. You cannot interfere with their job. Yeah. So we drive the hearse up to the spot, and pretty much our responsibility ends there. So funeral directors, we never buy lowering devices. We never actually technically bury people. And in our state in New Jersey, if you own a funeral home, we cannot own a cemetery or crematory by law. It's one out of the three that you can own. So it's different. Yes?
Thank you, sir.
Yes.
What are the challenges that you face in related to funeral industry in US?
The challenges, the biggest challenge that we face right now are qualified people to do the job. COVID came to America and wiped us out. We are here. Literally, it wiped us out. And so, number one, so many funeral homes have just closed because the owners could not take it, could not take the stress, could not take the demand. And then also, so many licensed professionals found other things to do. And so I'm at the school, we're literally running the school, trying to educate, teach, train, and bring in new people because our funeral homes are all understaffed. And so every movement back home with the dead body requires a license, unlike here. So that license is in demand and it's worth a whole lot of money. Professor Harvell has a license in New York. In New York, you cannot touch a body without that license. And so they pay him a whole lot of money to move bodies around in New York. And so we don't have a heavy pipe flow or a lot of people coming into the industry. And so we're at a position right now where we're looking for good people to help us continue on with our business. And so that's a challenge. The other challenge is economics. People don't have a lot of money to spend in the area of funeral service right now. Doesn't mean that they don't have money, they're just finding less and less value in funeral service. And you may say, why? Well, in COVID, they could not have funerals, period. So many of the grandparents, the parents, the aunts and uncles were immediately buried or immediately cremated during COVID, and that was about 2 years. And so they had no services for those people. And so oftentimes we'll hear phone calls, hello, my dad just died. You guys buried my mother during COVID, just do the same thing, take him to the cemetery. And so all of the areas for service have been minimalized. And so people no longer find value in the ritual of the funeral. And so that's why I was hanging out talking about service, because that's what we're doing back in the United States. We're educating the consumers about the services that we can provide, and we're doing them better and better and better so that they can go back to the traditional ways of servicing their dead loved ones. But it's hard because people aren't spending the money on services for their loved one. Okay. Well, it has truly been a pleasure to share with each and every one of you. Myself, as well as our colleagues, will be here through the night tonight. So if you have any other questions, please don't hesitate to come by. I have business cards right up here, so you can kind of stop by to get my business card. But again, it was a pleasure for all of us to be here and to share with you. We're here for the balance of the day, and if there's any way that we can assist you, please don't hesitate to let us know. Yes, sir.
Sorry, just a comment, something interesting. When most people realize that I at times work in the mortuary other than in the laboratory doing other clinical work, then they would ask me, is that what you do? You go to the mortuary? But do you go there when you're sober? Are you always sober? You know, so, and surprisingly, many times in many funeral homes, I think most prevalent of any psychological effects.
Effects, yes. Okay. So to answer your question, I'm going to do that in a couple of different ways. Obviously, the work that we do carries weight on us, right? And so we have to learn how to wear that weight effectively, or how to deal with that weight properly. So you can do a bunch of different things to cope. One can be, oh, maybe I can drink to relieve the pressure. I can take drugs or narcotics to relieve the pressure. But obviously you want to work in a different direction to find healthy coping mechanisms for dealing with what we deal with each and every day. And being certain, they talked about it yesterday, not to bring that stuff into your home. It was a negative effect. Self-care is the term. That's simply the term, self-care. It affects all industries, but obviously specifically we're here talking about, funeral service and mortuary science. And so each one of us has to find healthy and creative ways to deal with the energy and the onus that comes on to us. For me personally, there's a town in New Jersey, it's called Atlantic City, and that's where people go to gamble and there's shows and fancy restaurants. Twice a month, I go by myself and I just go down there, I eat, I'm not a gambler, I sit at the bar, I may have a drink or two, I watch people, I may go see a show, and then I come home the next day. But I'm alone, I'm isolated, and I'm in a place where I enjoy. Also, every Sunday night, I go and get a massage from head to toe. And that has helped me for many, 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 many years. And that's what I do. I mean, that happens to work for Kyle Ledford, but I'm sure if you talk with Dr. Churchman loves to go on vacation. So usually, a week out of the month, she is gone and can't nobody find her. So that's her self-care. Sean shared with you, he's got 2 beautiful daughters. He spends a whole lot of time with them. He loves to take them shopping. He is always spoiling them. They just have to ask, and Daddy Sean will get them whatever they want. And then he also mentioned that he works with a therapist to kind of help him. And so each of us has to find our own and creative and innovative ways to deal with what we deal with. Religion is also a common coping mechanism for many, many people. They'll use religion as an escape or as a venue or as a place of hope or a place of peace. But yes, that is something that we have to address. We have to address it collectively. But just like I said, when you go home, get in the mirror and ask yourself, what is it that you do? It's the same thing as it relates to self-care. Is this work that I'm doing, affecting me in a way that I need help? You have to be honest with yourself, right? And then what the answer is, you need to work then to address it. I, Kyle Ledford, I am an overachiever. So anything that I put my hands on, it has to be the best. It has to be, super. That sometimes can drive me crazy because I get disappointed with myself if I'm not at level 10 all the time. And Sean can tell you, in the school, I'm like a drill sergeant because I want things perfect. I want our students seeing what perfection looks like. I want our students recognizing that they can have perfection within their hands. And so all of us have our different ways of operating and the different things that we do, but that's just me. You saw my funeral home. My funeral home is cleaned every night. You can go in my funeral home at any time. You can eat chicken on my prep tables because that's how I want it. But that sometimes can drive me bananas. All right. Thank you all. Thank you.
Wow, we can do better. Thank you very much, Kelly Ledford. Thank you for the presentation. I am looking forward to eating chicken on one of the operating tables very soon. and that can be replicated in most of, if not all, of our funeral homes. We need to get to that standard. I remember one apologist in this country is now late. We went to school with him. So one of those days I went visiting him in his office, and I found him eating nyama choma. I could not stand it, but he was eating. Anyway, so we need to come to that standard. We are almost to the end of our seminar, and I want you to bear with us because we are not running as the schedule because of the force of nature. It disrupted everything that we had embarked to do. And so who are we? We had to throw up our hands in surrender, but we must continue. And so I want to thank you for your patience. You've been very patient with us, even in the way and in the manner that we have inconvenienced you. We have taken comfort from you, but we thank you for being patient. So I want to we are making some arrangement here because we are coming to the end of our seminar. We are hoping in our next seminar, we are hoping and praying that we will not have this kind of disruptions, that we will keep to our schedule and be able to run our program seamlessly. So we are preparing our words because we need to present them. We are trying to be as organized as we can, so that I have been told that the bush has been cleared. So if you wish to go to the bush, kindly, there are no restrictions there anymore. So you can just walk to the bush if you so wish to walk towards that direction. We want to appreciate each and every participant. We want to thank Kenya Airways crew that has graced the occasion. We really thank you for taking your time to be here with us. We also want to thank various other organizations that have partnered with us and have found time in their busy schedules to come and be able to join us here. We also want to thank the many of you who have had to leave the comfort of your homes and your offices, your workstations from Africa and beyond. We thank you, we value you, we really appreciate the time you have taken so that you are able to patiently be with us here and be able to grace the occasion. And we are looking forward to having you again when we convene in our next conferences. And it's our prayer that it will be bigger and better because we want to improve on each and every seminar, that every function that we keep on having. So let the next one be bigger and better. And we are also hoping to come and join you in your various stations in the other countries where you have come from. If you invite us at a good time, we will always find time to come and participate in the seminars in the countries. We really value and treasure you, that you found it to be, found time to come and be with us. And I hope as we live here, most of the things that we have interacted with here should not just remain on paper and pen. They should not gather dust on our shelves. I hope we'll be able to put them into practice and make our working environment better than we found it. All right. We have come to the moment where we want to hand over the program to the President, Ezra, so that he runs the program from here. And I just want to appreciate you. Can we just put our hands together as we bring Ezra to the program?
Thank you, Program Director. We have now come to the end of our 10th Annual Funeral Conference. And let's give a round of applause to our guest speakers who have given us a wonderful speeches from Kenya Airways Cargo, Kenya Bureau of Standards, and Professor Sean and Ken Leport for those wonderful speeches, and Dr. Chomi Makina from Zimbabwe. We really appreciate this sampling that we have gained knowledge and we have gathered so much in terms of taking this industry to the next level. For those who didn't know, you have seen the difference between the funeral director and Balmas and Mortisian. And it's an humble appeal to us now that in Kenya, what you're going to work on now, that not everybody who is working within the mortuary sector is an embalmer. And if you are an embalmer, we are going to insist, as we leave this room today, starting from Monday, we are going to, as an association, we are going to introduce what is called an embalmer. You say what amount of water you are using and what type of chemical you are using, so that we need a supporting document conference through Kenyatta National or the county government, if they can give us their facility, so that the first day it will be only pure practical on to do with embalming and restorative art. That's what we want to do, and it will be strictly for those who have come here and who have gained this knowledge, that we shall give them priority to come and listen. The rest will be coming and who are not in this convention. The fee will be very high because we are going to bring experts, and I want to thank our African International Ambassador, Dr. Edith, for introducing Dr. Harry P. Close. And Harry P. Close said that he's ready and willing to take us through the journey of how to embalm and do the restorative art. So we shall be having an expert in that field. Thank you very much. Now, this is the end of the session, and as our tradition, what we normally do, we always like to appreciate our presenters, and also those who give us wonderful speeches. At least they have something to go home with, because when they go back to their respective areas, they can say that actually we are somewhere in Kenya, Mombasa, as a sign of whatever we are going to give them. I want to call upon on stage the Secretary General of Fusak, Mr. Agustinos Owino. To come on stage, and then I would also want to call Madam Elizabeth to come up on stage. She has also a colleague, they work together. Madam Jacqueline, please kindly come up on stage. Those two ladies are like sisters and twins. They are one of the best embalmers, and they are working with Agustino in the same facility. You can imagine the kind of work is being done at the facility. For those who are going to Nairobi, the 333, call them, you will find them there, and they take you through this side. So, I would like you to walk through this side. The ladies first. Behind. Show them the direction so that they will not fall here. The secretary, you can just go, we want to in the middle of the banner. So one can stand here, one can stand here, the other one can stand the other end of the banner. Yes, so that when the guest speaker come, and then secretary you can come, you can come. So, our first certificate of appreciation we want to give our guest speaker, Mr. Kel Leopold, Senior, CFSP. This is to appreciate you for your valuable contribution towards the funeral profession, given this day, 17th November 2023, Mombasa, Kenya. Kindly come and we give you a certificate. Just remain there. We also have a certificate of recognition. This is to recognize Leifport Funeral Home Incorporated for the promotion, growth, development, and valuable contribution towards the funeral industry, given this day, 17th November 2023, Mombasa, Kenya. Thank you. Just remain there, and then we have one gift bag for you to go with on with. Give on. Thank you. Thank you very much. We appreciate. Thank you very much, our guest speaker, for that wonderful presentation. And we want to call you back if you find time to come to Nairobi and take us through the journey. Thank you very much. God bless you. Thank you. Next up, we want to call Professor Sean Havel. Professor Sean gave us a technicality yesterday, and it was very wonderful. I hope all of us really enjoyed. I call upon the secretary to come and take this. To hand it over to Sean. Thank you. Just hold on. Sean, I was Smith Funeral Home, and then I see you also have a consultancy known as Legacy Funeral Home. I was right. Wow, thank you. I really didn't say that. Let me use the Legacy Funeral Home, because today the main theme was about legacy, which Leopold talked about. Thank you very much. Also, you don't go empty-handed. We have a bag for you so that you can carry all a long way. Thank you very much, Prof, for your wonderful piece. God bless you. Yeah, let's just take time. We shall take our lunch. It's always a memorial moment that when we put in our post, we keep on thinking that the people that we brought. Thank you very much. May God bless you for that wonderful speech. Next on stage is I don't know how to describe her. She has really done a lot to the Fusak. Through her, she has made us to know so many people. Through her, she has introduced us to other wonderful presenters, other guests. She travels all over the world, and she's an ambassador. I'm really humbled by her because she's normally give us the presenters to help us carry out the journey. She has seen our journey, how we are trying to grow, how we move, and now she is a testimony where Fusak came from and where Fusak is and where Fusak wants to go. She helped us in that vision, and I'm humbly requesting Dr. Edith Churchman to kindly come and receive our presentation. Just go slowly, Secretary. We also have a certificate of recognized James E. Churchman Jr. Funeral Home. Also, she will not go empty-handed. We have a gift bag for her so that she can go carry along and brand our association that we are trying. Thank you very much. What a wonderful photo when we have the picture. The first person to put me on an airplane. My first airplane was fully paid by none other than Dr. Chomi Makina. He's the man who transformed me, and he told me that once you get in the first, he booked me in a Kenya Airways flight, and he told me once you take that flight, life will never be the same again. Nowadays, anything more than 2 hours drive, it's a flight. What a wonderful man to mentor me, show me the ropes of how to move. But what I have not done is to go into golf. He's telling me, Ezra, the people control the world. They're in the golf. So we wanted to play golf, but unfortunately due to rains, I'll follow your footsteps. Dr. Chomi Makina, Group CEO of Moonlight. He's a man of many faces that does a lot in Zimbabwe. Thank you very much. Go to the secretary. Thank you very much. And we also have a gift for Dr. Chomi Makini. Some people may wonder why is he not getting that big certificate. It is coming. So thank you. This is just for Fusak appreciation. Thank you very much. We have been doing our own things in Kenya. And once Dr. Makina introduced me to these flights, we said, why can't we take flight to South Africa? And we met one person. He has been our mentor. He's a go-getter. He pushes us on. Sometimes he leaves us hanging. And then he tries to sometimes also criticize what we are doing. And then later he said, you did a good well, my brother. So I asked, why could you advise me on what to do? He said, no. That's how things are being done. But sometimes you just say you don't want to make a lot of mistakes. When we were in South Africa with Cooper, he really took his time to take us across South Africa. And that was my first time experiencing winter. And he also took us to one of the funeral homes, Kupane. He took us to his own funeral home, and he showed us how burials are being conducted. I think John and Regina can attest to that. And we were shown, apart as we just normally ferry the mourners, but we don't do a burial setup. So he took his time, did a lot of demonstration, and we really learned, and he showed us actually how things are being done in South Africa. We really enjoyed being in South Africa. We went to Soweto, we saw the good roads, we saw how the infrastructure is good, nice environment. I'm talking about none other than Chief Simeon Boykanyo. That's a wonderful man. Thank you. That's chief. In Kenya, chief is different from chief in South Africa. Thank you. And chief is not going empty-handed. We are giving this brand so that he can take it also to South Africa. That Kenya we can also appreciate. And we want this Fusak to go global. Thank you very much. I would want to call on behalf of SAFPA President Libo Mnisi, Mr. Funerals. Yeah. Thank you very much. Yeah, don't wonder why the gift bag is not there. Just people should relax. Our next is how many people enjoyed the conversation with Kenya Airways? We really enjoyed, yeah? So we need to also appreciate for their wonderful work, and here we call upon on stage Lois Mbewa to come and see the certificate of appreciation. And Wanda talking about engineering, so it means that she's an engineer. She's an engineer, you can imagine. And she's in the funeral sector. Wow. I also call upon Violet. No, just remain yeah. Yeah. Violet from Kenya Airways team. Okay, she can take all of you. And then I call upon Muhammad. Muhammad. Yes, sir. So, okay. Muhammad also can have this. Okay, I'll come there. For Muhammad, okay, for Lois.